just realizing that everything that I worked so hard for after being ranked number 2 and number 3 in the world at my weight class, all of a sudden having literally nothing that I worked for. I had nothing. I had lived off of my savings for so long. After all this money that I piled up and had all the things, I was literally a shell of myself. And when you go to my dad, that's when you know, like, you got some, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the last stop. That's what everybody's pretty scared of my dad, just because, out of respect.
What's up, guys? This is None of Your Business Podcast, a podcast where we talk about anything but your business and ask questions that's no one's business. Now, it is my mission to bring you inspiring storytelling from the heart. We all go through struggles. It doesn't matter what our background is, but we can overcome them. And I'm going to show you how. Thank you for joining me today. Now let the show begin. Okay, so I got Michelle Ould on here today. She is a former pro MMA fighter, sober enthusiast, sober mom, esthetician. We talk about her rock bottom. We talk about her fighting for her life in the cage and for her sobriety. So, guys, this one is huge. Go check out her podcast. Go check out her Instagrams. Her tags are at the end of the episode. So stay tuned for that. I really loved having this conversation with Michelle. Especially during the pandemic when there was more of a shutdown. It was nice to have a conversation with another alcoholic that's in recovery. I learned so much from Michelle. And honestly, I think it helped me more than it helped her. So thank you, Michelle. I appreciate you. Guys, go check out her podcast. Go check out her Instagrams. This one is a powerful punch of a message. So stay tuned for that. Hey, guys. So if you don't know what East Coast Tags is, then go over to www.eastcoasttags.com. Check out their amazing Pride apparel, Black Lives Matters apparel. They literally have everything that you want. If you want custom keys and tags, hoodies, hats, sweatshirts, whatever you want, she can make anything that you want for you or for your business. So go over to eastcoasttags.com, use the promo code NOYB or none of your business for 10% off, guys. Support me, support her, support yourselves. Get yourself something nice and your employees. Enjoy the episode, guys. So we're going. So I got Michelle Ould on here today. Welcome, Michelle, to the None of Your Business podcast. Definitely appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to spend some time with us today. So who are you? What do you do?
My name is Michelle Ould, and I am a sober enthusiast first and foremost. I am a mother. I am a wife. I am a former professional female fighter. Now I am, of all things, an esthetician. Yeah, so a little bit of everything mixed up in there. I used to punch faces, and now I fix faces.
That's
Ironic little twist there.
right. Yeah. So you are a sober enthusiast. So what do you mean by that?
Well, part of my latest entrepreneurial journey was just basically being really transparent about the fact that I am sober, and I have been for, let's say, 982 days from alcohol.
Awesome.
And yeah, so almost 3 years from alcohol, and let's see, 2.5 years from pain medication and every other party drug you could possibly think of. So being a sober enthusiast is being transparent about it because of the stigma and whatnot related to it. and just being a part of the program. When I first got into it, I was in a very small town and with a lot of older folks in the AA program. I did AA as opposed to NA, and they always just kind of told me to be careful who I told. And that just never really sat with me quite comfortably. And I've just found a lot more freedom being out about it. So I just basically say I'm a sober enthusiast. Like, why the fuck not? I'm going to tell whoever is willing to listen, and maybe a few that aren't willing to listen.
Yeah, no, I can relate with you on that as well. Like, my hometown is like 30,000 people, so it's pretty small. And the older people in the rooms, they would say the exact same thing, and I'm like, well, that doesn't make much sense. Like, I get, like, maybe on a first date, don't tell my first date that I used to shoot up heroin. Yeah,
Right.
that makes sense. But that I'm a recovering alcoholic and it ruins my life if I drink alcohol, then maybe, there's reasons there. And because of, like, when I first came in the rooms when I was 19. So, like, what other 19-year-old is struggling? So
Right.
it didn't make
Somebody
any
might need to
sense to
hear
me.
it.
So you're sober enthusiast. Like, what was, like, your rock bottom for deciding to get sober?
Oh, yeah. My rock bottom was pretty hard. I crash landed after I went back to a very, very toxic relationship, and drugged that out, I think for a year. And him and I had been gone, we've gone a few rounds. Let's say that was our third round in that fight. And it got really, really bad to the point where I was like, I just was completely shut off from every activity that I'd done prior. I just wasn't involved in my life. I completely isolated myself from everybody. Nobody really knew what was going on except for like his friends. And he was selling cocaine, and I found myself I found it because he didn't want to tell me because he knew that I had a love affair with cocaine, and I stole it from him, like a huge amount. And that's when I kind of realized, like, if I have to steal from a drug dealer that I'm actually sleeping with, and I'm pretty sure if you can overdose on cocaine, I did.
Yeah.
And I didn't go to the hospital. I instead left, and I felt, here's the thing is that I felt justified when I stole it from him because he owed me money. And how did I punish him? By doing all of it and pretty much giving myself a heart
Yeah.
attack.
Damn.
I crash landed into my dad's life again, and he was, he'd been waiting for me, and he had 25 years of sobriety.
Oh, that's
He knew it.
awesome.
Yeah, so he knew exactly how to deal with me, and I wanted to put myself into a treatment center. And I've been battling with painkiller addiction for probably a good 6 years since I'd started accruing a ton of injuries
Yeah.
from martial arts.
Yeah.
So, and every single surgery or injury that I had, they just kept giving me more painkillers. So, you know what I mean? When I started overdoing the cocaine, that's, just putting fuel on the fire. That's when I literally felt like I was going crazy. And I did feel like I had to be crazy to go to my dad, even though he had 25 years of sobriety. He's a scary motherfucker.
Yeah.
He's almost 7 feet tall, and
Damn.
I came with my tail tucked between my legs, and I wasn't quite ready yet. I was still sneaking out and doing stupid shit, but he still knew, but he just waited for me to finally come around. And it was just realizing that everything that I worked so hard for after being ranked number 2 and number 3 in the world at my weight class, all of a sudden having literally nothing that I worked for. I had nothing. I had lived off of my savings for so long. After all this money that I piled up and had all the things, I was literally a shell of myself. And when you go to my dad, that's when like, you got some You know what I mean? That's the
Yeah.
last stop. That's what everybody's pretty scared of my dad, just because, out of respect.
Yeah.
You know, because if you're going to him, he's going to make you be serious. And as opposed to going into a treatment center, what he put me through was harder than a treatment center by far, because I've been through a treatment program, but but for getting in trouble when I was younger. I didn't
Yeah.
have an issue with any substances. I just was fighting all the time, so they put me through a treatment program, and I thought that was hard. Oh no. So yeah, that was my rock bottom. Was very, very low, very, very, being homeless, and having my sons they moved back to California, their hometown, and lived with one of their wrestling coaches. Like, basically, I had to give up my dogs. And
Yeah.
I'm a huge dog enthusiast. Like, I had literally nothing to my name. My rock bottom was bad. It was really bad.
Well, now look at you.
I know, right?
So from that pivotal point in your life, you are a mother of 4, right?
No, I am a mother of 4 dogs,
4
but I have
dogs. Oh, I
I have 2
apologize.
sons. No worries, no worries.
Okay.
No, I have 2 boys. Yeah, 4 kids, I couldn't even imagine. I wouldn't have any hair. No, I have 2 boys. I had them at a young age, so they're pretty much adults at this point. I have a 15-year-old, but he's about 30 in my eyes.
Now you're an esthetician. How long have you been doing that for?
Honestly, it started off as a hustle, just doing lashes. And I know it sounds so crazy too. I never would have thought that this would be what I'm doing, but just like compared to punching people in the face for the majority of my professional career, I started off doing lashes just because I had to pivot.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm huge adapt or die. And that's something that I learned in mixed martial arts, and in life in general. And I had to pivot because I could no longer do the personal training. I couldn't, in personal training, you don't make jack for money.
Yeah.
And my body couldn't handle it anymore. And I didn't know how to do anything else. And I saw my aunt was making a shit ton of money doing lashing. And I had no interest in it whatsoever, but I liked money. And when she was computing to me basically what it broke down to per hour, I was like, okay, so you just have to do some trainings, and it's a really small startup, and I could be making as much money as I was when I was fighting. So I
What?
started doing that. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Like, within 6 months of starting lashing, I was making $6,000 to $8,000 a month on average.
Are you fucking?
No joke. No.
Wow.
So I might have got hit in the head a lot, but I'm not a dummy. So, and I'm not even going to lie though. I hated it. But I hated fighting too. Like it's a love-hate thing.
Yeah.
So, and then I did that for about 1.5 years. And then my wife got transferred down here to Vegas for work. And in order for me to continue lashing, and I have a couple years of college under my belt too. I should probably go back and I'm considering going back and finishing school now that I have all my faculties about me. I just suck at math. But yeah, so I had to start all over, and I had to go through esthetician school, which I didn't think I'd ever do. I just thought lashing was a hustle, but the money's just so good. So I just put myself through school, because you have to be a licensed esthetician in order to do lashes here, which is great because you're dealing with people's eyeballs and you could blind motherfuckers. So yeah.
Vegas, you have to. Oh, sorry.
No worries. Go ahead.
Vegas, they have like strict rules for everything. It seems like. So back in 2018, I ended up relapsing after having like 3 or 4 years of sobriety. Ended up being homeless in Las Vegas for like 5 months, and just trying to find a job like on Zoom, and they want like a certified card for alcohol, certified safe serve for food. I'm like, what the none of this. Like in Montana, you don't need this. Like I'm living out of my car right now and I need a job, but I don't have the $150 to go get certified to wait tables or whatever. And it just, which I probably wouldn't have waited tables anyways, because I was in active addiction, sleeping out of my car. And me and my fiance,
People.
what's that?
Yeah, you'd have to deal with people then.
Yeah.
Have conversations.
Yeah. So, and then I decided to get back in recovery after, when I came back to Montana, I ended up overdosing in the hospital. Not in the hospital. I ended up overdosing to get into the hospital on heroin and meth. My fiance got arrested, and I thought it was my fault. Like, super codependent, toxic relationship, and
Yeah.
like it was gross. So I thought because my source of love went and got locked up, I had to save her, and since I couldn't save her, then I was gonna die. So I totally understand the rock bottom. You don't know how far you got to dig, but when you stop digging and just surrender,
Mm.
you you win. And life's not full of fucking rainbows and unicorns all the time. Like, you're still gonna have your ups and downs, but you can still live life. So now that you're in recovery and you're a sober enthusiast, like, and you were a world champion for MMA. Have you used any of those tactics from your fighting days into your recovery days?
Absolutely. I mean, wow. You know what though? I can't even give it credit. Like as an athlete, I feel that a lot of the foundation for fitness, for just any type of health, whether it be mental health, emotional health, all that, self improvement. I actually feel like it's come full circle that it seems a lot of it's based on the principles of our program. Consistency, just show up, you know what I mean? Like progress over perfection,
Yeah.
all of that. But as for, my fight tactics, just keep swimming, like by any means necessary. That was what I was kind of known for saying. You win a fight by any means necessary, and it might not be pretty. And
Hmm.
that's kind of how I deal with any type of things like that. If I'm dealing with anything that triggers me now, or anything that I need to, if I'm ever questioning myself in my sobriety, because I don't want to say it's necessarily that I'm fighting anything, but I will fight for my sobriety 100% because I'm fighting for my life.
Yeah.
And I need to hold on to my sobriety by any means necessary. And I don't necessarily want to fight anymore, but I'm willing to fight for that. So,
Mm.
absolutely. And, just showing up, you know what I mean? Like, that's all you have to do. That's what my coaches would say. You don't feel good today? I don't give a shit. You just show up.
Mm.
We don't know how it's going to go, but the fact that you showed up, you know what I mean? When you go to a fight, you better show the fuck up.
Yeah.
And that's what you got to do every single day in your sobriety, sometimes multiple times a day.
Right on.
Yeah.
Fucking absolutely. Absolutely. So you were a fighter for 10 years and then you stopped. Like, why did you stop?
Well, I really wasn't present anymore because I had spiraled so far down into my painkiller addiction and had so many health issues stemming from it, thyroid issues. I couldn't like keep my weight in check anymore. I couldn't keep my mental. I wasn't with it anymore. Had started isolating. I was just in heavy addiction, if I'm being honest, and I'd had so many injuries. And it kind of just goes hand in hand. I can't say that my addiction stemmed from, my injuries, and I can't say that you know what I mean? Does that
Yeah.
make any sense?
No,
Um,
absolutely.
so they kind of just were eating each other, my
Yeah.
addiction and my fighting, and and just all the injuries that were coming. I didn't know how to deal with my injuries without using pain medication, and every injury that I had warranted pain medication, and they would give it to me and they wouldn't stop giving it to me, so I felt justified in it, and my life was kind of spiraling out of control.
Yeah.
Wasn't I wasn't a player in the game anymore. At the top of my career, I wish I would have retired then, but I still kind of knew that I wasn't 100% when I went back for my last fight. I'm really sad about that, but I should have been checking into rehab, but instead I was like, I'll try another fight.
Yeah.
And I just wasn't present. And I wish I would have gotten help sooner. I think that we all could say that. Um, but yeah, I mean, it just kind of sucks though a little bit because right about the time that I was unable to continue because I just had so many injuries that I had to have surgeries for, and they just kept piling up. The UFC brought my fucking weight class in, and that was heartbreaking for me because the girl that won the first Ultimate Fighter, I beat her in under 2 minutes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I was just looking and I was like, that bitch is making my money, like my money, you know? So there's been multiple girls that are ranked now that I have whooped and that I
Really?
have trained with and that I have tooled in the gym, and not in a disrespectful way, but just that I'm better than.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very bitter. So a lot of the reason too that I feel that I went into the world of aesthetics, first off, I'm very vain and I was always judged for my appearance. We all are, especially the females. So I always took really good care of myself and I was always willing to try all the girly things.
Yeah.
But another reason why is because it was the polar opposite of MMA, and I had such a kind of a broken heart over it that I kind of had to get out of it altogether. I didn't even want to be in the fitness world anymore. So I miss
Mm.
it though. And I still keep up with my friends. You know, I'm in Vegas. So when they're in town, they'll hit me up to do facials and stuff like that. But I don't follow it like I did before because it still hurts. But my sons are elite athletes and they're considering it. So it's something
Mm.
that they kind of keep me up to speed.
Right on.
Yeah.
Um, this is kind of off topic, but do you know who Sugar Sean O'Malley is?
Who doesn't, of course.
Fair enough. We grew up in the same town.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I kind of know him. I more know his brothers, but yeah, the guy's a beast. Like, I think it's really cool that like someone like him came from Helena, Montana, because like nobody comes from Helena, Montana. So it's just, like, people probably don't even know what Helena is.
Hey, I've been
So
through there before. I blinked and I missed it, but been there.
yeah. So having him, um, just like killing it. Like, he saw an opportunity, went down to Arizona, and now he's who he is today.
Yeah.
So
What a character too, though. That guy's
yeah,
awesome. That guy's
yeah, yeah. But anyways, so
but not off topic, off a topic. How do you feel about smoking weed?
I don't really give two shits. Like, I was walking. I live in Missoula now, and on my way home from breakfast, they were trying to get people to make it legal for recreation use. So I signed the thing. Like, I don't smoke because I take one hit and I'm fucking stoned. But if you are asking to, maybe because you're doing something, go for it.
Right. No, no, no. Because I was smoking up until God, it's been over 6 months, but I have multiple dates, like from alcohol, from painkillers, and
Yeah.
then but when I got sober, my first couple sponsors actually smoked weed.
Really?
So yeah, like calling it Cali sober, even though it was in Idaho. So yeah, I know about Helena, Montana, because I got sober in Idaho, so we were neighbors.
What's
But
up?
I totally am a proponent for smoking weed, but the sponsor that I have now is not a proponent for smoking weed while sober. I think there's a difference between being clean and sober versus Cali
Yeah.
sober.
Yeah.
I think that it's very therapeutic and helpful for some people, but essentially, like as it stands right now, my sponsor, that's kind of the boundaries that she set if we're going to be working together. So I've been respecting them,
Mm.
but I miss it. So seeing the videos that my son will show me of Sean, I'm like, oh man, yeah, I remember that life. And I
Right.
used to not like it at all, but you know, that's not that I mean, I miss it, but at the same time, you know, there's a lot of things that I missed in my active addiction that I just know that it's a slippery slope. So, you know, I'm glad
Yeah.
my sponsor put me in check.
Yeah. Like, I'll use CBD oil. Um, like, if my
Oh yeah,
shoulder is killing me, but like the only reason I don't smoke weed is because I get too high when I
really.
take one hit. Like, I used to smoke weed when I was younger, and then like
Oh, it's the game has changed, buddy.
exactly,
The game has changed. It's like,
exactly. So I take one hit and I'm just fucking stoned. But like, if you medically need, like, my mom has MS, so like
uh,
I grew up a strong believer for medical marijuana. So like for that reason, like, but if you're like smoking weed to get out of your head, like you're doing a line of cocaine, then that's a
right.
whole another ball game, in my opinion.
Yeah. If
So
you're trying to change the way that you feel or you're
yeah.
running from something. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree. I just wanted to know your thoughts on that.
Oh, yeah. I, if you're, what's your intention for smoking weed? Is it for medical purposes? Go for it. If
Right.
it's to get away, no,
Gotcha.
not at all.
I agree.
So, um, now that you're an esthetician, you got a podcast going on, right?
Yes, sir.
What's your podcast called?
The Sober Mompreneur.
The Sober Mompreneur. I love it. And where can people find it?
I'm everywhere as far as I know. Put it on because I did the Buzzsprout, so shot it off to iTunes. Yeah. Where else is there podcast? I only do iTunes. I'm an Apple girl.
Gotcha. So,
iHeartRadio.
there's iHeartRadio, there's Podbean, but Podbean is its own hosting platform, so you'd have to load it up there. There's TuneIn, which is the Alexa. There is Spotify,
Spotify, yeah.
Pandora, iHeartRadio, Stitcher.
Stitcher, yeah. So those are the three: is Stitcher, iHeartRadio, um, and you
uh,
said one other one, iTunes. Yeah.
iTunes, right on. And then with Buzzsprout, you can get it like on Pandora, Alexa, and all that stuff. It takes like 4 weeks to do, but you have to submit it yourself. It's
Okay.
kind of a pain, but like if everything's right, you can get it in there. So
Yeah, I'll have to. I think it might be on Pandora, but I'm not quite sure.
there you go. So awesome. But if it's on iTunes, guys, go check it out. So if people are gonna go listen to your podcast, like what would be your elevator speech
My elevator speech.
or
Let's
pitch? I
see.
mean, not
My
speech.
elevator speech. Let's see. Just kind of it's a different spin on sobriety and a different spin on entrepreneurship, I think that anything's possible for anybody, and I think that I'm a testament to that. And it's just kind of a little bit of everything all mixed into one. Like, you can talk about drugs, sex, alcohol, violence. For being a girl, I kind of have I have experience in all the things, and I can chop shop with the best of them.
Fuck yeah. All right. Cool. Cool. Fuck yeah. That's awesome. So when you're not being an esthetician, you're not being a mom, you're not being a sober enthusiast, like what do you do in your free time?
Oh, well, since we're in this pandemic, I ain't doing much of shit. No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crafts. I started crafting. See, you got to get creative, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I have dogs, so I'm super into my dogs. I walk my dogs. I work out still every single day. Um, all I do is basically scroll all the beauty stuff. And I am a huge podcast listener. I've been listening to Aubrey Marcus like crazy.
Oh, I
Um,
love that podcast.
I am so obsessed. Like, I want to go and do ayahuasca so bad just because of the growth that he has had and the things that he has said, but it scares me. But just his mental, like his elevation, oh my God. I'm just like, I think I have a total crush on this dude. And I've listened to him before, but then it comes full circle. It's just like when you put down the book and pick it back up again and you read it and you can read the same thing and get something else out of it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm really into basically, I wake up in the morning, I have a huge morning routine, like 2 hours by myself. Like, I like being by myself. I'm not gonna lie. We're known for being
Right.
isolators,
No shit.
but I feel like I have to do this morning routine in order to
Yeah.
kind of armor myself before going out into the world. But even during the pandemic, I've been doing my morning routine. I stage my whole house. I do all the oils, all that stuff, journaling, and I
Awesome.
start listening to, podcasts right away. I work out for about an hour and a half, and then I take my dogs on a walk. that can eat up about half of your day if you do it right.
Right.
Because I'm a non-essential worker, so basically podcasts have been my saving grace. And that's pretty
Mm.
much when I launched it. Like I was already preparing a podcast. I knew that I wanted to do it, but the pandemic was the perfect time. All of a sudden I just had the time to make sure that I had the time to be bored enough to that I didn't have the excuse anymore.
Yeah.
Let's say that, because I was pretty nervous and I still get nervous.
Yeah, absolutely. Like so I'm 26 now and I want to start a podcast at 19. And like I would like record stuff and then I wouldn't ever publish it, or I would like record stuff and like never listen to it because I was always in fear, like who's going to listen to me? Who's going to listen to me? I don't know what to talk about. So when I finally jumped out of that fear and got on the other side, like fucking so many doors open.
Right.
So many fucking doors open. I'm talking to a pro MMA fighter right now, and I'm from fucking Helena, Montana. Like, I interviewed my favorite author a couple weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah, Don Miguel Ruiz Jr. Um,
Oh,
and
wow.
he was on the Aubrey Marcus podcast, and I'm like,
Yeah.
holy shit, like, my favorite YouTuber, Evan Carmichael, just like these doors just start opening up. The gifts are coming. The keys to the kingdom are coming because I'm sober and I'm doing something. I'm giving back. Like, and I get to learn from people that I've admired for years. Like, again, like, who the fuck am I? Like, why would anyone listen to me? Because I wasn't giving myself credit. But when I get these DMs from people like, dude, like, I heard that you like try to kill yourself. Like, I'm struggling in addiction, or like, you make it possible. So I want to acknowledge for you doing what you're doing. Like, you used to punch people in the face, and now that you fix them and you're a sober mom, like that alone, and you being like transparent with it, like from the background that you came from to I'm sober now. Like, it seems like a lot of people who used to have the spotlight on them don't say that they're sober. At least from what I've seen, they try and hide it.
100%. And the amount of athletes that are plagued by addiction, man, it's something. There's particular UFC fighter that he's very transparent about his addiction, but of course it's not my story to tell. But I'm considering I need to learn how to do the Zoom interviews and the editing for it. That's my next step, and I would love to have him on, just because I think, like, basically what you're saying about me, I feel the same way about him. Like, that's huge, because we're supposed to be the strongest, and we're supposed to be infallible, and tougher than anybody on earth, and this and that and the other, and it's not true. There's some of the softest, weakest people in some regards, and in some ways in very good ways. But definitely in the sports world, addiction is huge. The people I've partied with and done copious quantities of drugs with that
Yeah.
people would never even guess are battling with depression and things that they just have to numb out just so that they can continue on with their job. It's heartbreaking,
Yeah.
especially when the show's over and then you're
Right.
sitting with yourself. Yeah, it's deadly. It's a really, really shitty combination.
Yeah. I can imagine. Like, I've dealt with that, but I have never had the spotlight on me. So going at a much higher level, I couldn't even imagine. So,
Spotlight's
y-
on you now, bro. Or the
uh,
microphone.
right. So, um, you're a big part of your morning routine. Do you have a nightly routine?
I need to implement a nightly routine, more so. I've just been trying to be more present, with what is it, the theta waves, the beta waves, and whatnot. Thinking about manifestation type thought
Mm,
process before going to sleep. Just trying to get my mind right. So I haven't implemented an evening routine just because I'm usually so exhausted.
yeah.
That's something, aside from drinking tea, I really just kind of have a routine with my dogs. And
Yeah.
everybody knows I'm in bed by like 8 o'clock. So I'm a little grandma,
Perfect.
baby grandma. But that's something, actually, I'm glad that you bring that up, because I see it as a challenge that I need to start implementing, and I have all the time in the world to do it right now. So, what
Awesome.
about you?
So I like to have like tea, caffeine free tea, and then I like to like listen to a podcast or I like to read a book. And then I try and put my phone down for the like 45 minutes before I actually fall asleep. And I just drink my tea, read my book, or listen to like an audiobook or podcast or something. And then I go to sleep. And I'm not perfect at that. I do that about 4 out of 7 days a week. Um, there's some days in the week where I fall asleep watching Netflix or something. And then my morning routine, I like to wake up and I like to put on, right now, I've changed my morning routine since this pandemic. I used to listen to a podcast first thing in the morning, but now I listen to like uh, ET's Eric Thomas's motivational podcast, or I'll listen to like a confidence boost like music while I'm taking a shower. And then I'll sit and I'll meditate for about 5-10 minutes, and then I'll pray and get on with my day. And again, I do that about 4 out of 7 days a week. I'm not perfect at it, but I try and have that consistency on what I'm doing.
I love that.
Thank you.
I'm gonna have to take a page out of your book and start. I mean, I know that I've been listening to a lot of podcasts, though, that have been talking about evening routines as well. And yeah, that's just something that I need to start. I don't know why I've kind of battled with it a little bit. Like, I don't need an evening routine. I already do a morning routine. I already put all that effort into it.
Yeah.
So that's something I think that'll help, I think, a lot, because I know how much my morning routine has changed my life. Ever since getting sober, I've had a morning routine.
Mhm.
So I can only imagine the benefits that an evening routine would give
So
me.
yeah, I didn't start doing an evening routine for until about a year and a half ago, and I just like, man, I got my morning routine, got that. Like, how can I make my night better? And I just started slowly. I'm like, okay, well, I'm just gonna start having tea, and then tea went from like, okay, now I'm just not gonna have my phone near me, and okay, now it's, well, instead of falling asleep on my couch watching Netflix, I'm gonna go to bed and leave my phone in the little living room. So, and again, I'm not perfect at it, but when I do it, I sleep so much better. I'm not waking up scrolling my phone on Instagram at 2 a.m. because I thought I heard it go off or whatever reason, or I'm not looking up weird shit on the internet at 3:30. It's just I get so much better sleep, and it's not the first thing that I look at when I wake up. Like, yeah, there are some mornings that it is the first thing that I wake up because I fell asleep just because I was exhausted and it's right next to me, so I look at it. But when I can set myself up for the next day to be successful, my day is so much better. And when I don't set myself up, then I'm like in my head more. I'm like, oh, why didn't she text me? Or why didn't he text me? Or like, why didn't I get that like? Or whatever the fuck it is that I'm stuck in my head about. Like, having routines help me not get in that fucking head mindset. Like, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. Oh no, like whatever. Like, I get so obsessed about the stupidest shit of my own insecurities. So what I found for me is having routines keeps me not in my head. So it
That's amazing.
it's huge. So how long have you been in Vegas now?
Next month it'll be a year. In
Right
literally
on.
one more month, yeah, it'll be a year. And then it has flown by. I'm actually really shocked to even say that we've been in Vegas for a year.
Right on.
Are you in Montana then? You're not in Vegas anymore.
No, yeah, I'm back in Montana. I so we were down there. We moved down there in 2018, ended up getting evicted, ended up being homeless, and then eventually uh a guy helped us get to Salt Lake, and I got family in Salt Lake, and then my family got me from Salt Lake back home. So I'm not there anymore, and honestly, I'm a little afraid to go back to Vegas. It was hard, it was rough, a lot of fucked up shit happened. So I don't know if I could, like, I'll still like wake up or I'll have like these visions sometimes where like I see like a casino floor or like uh Vegas Boulevard or something, and just like seeing people chasing us, or like it's just, I have these visions. Some, like over time they get worse. I mean, better and better. But like when I first came home from Vegas, I would like wake up having night terrors because like we're at um what is it, the Texas casino on the north side of Las Vegas or something.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, my ex fiance, she left me there, and went and slept with another guy, and I would just have like these visions of like that happening, just searching all over the casino. I'd wake up like dripping sweat. So I'm not sure if I'm ready to go back to Vegas. Maybe one day, because
Well, if you visit, you've got a safe space here. And we live probably 40 minutes, 45 minutes from the strip. We live up northwest and it's all brand new, like almost to Mount Charleston exit.
so do you live
So
by
it's not
the
a trigger for me.
what is that, the northwest you said?
hmm
So is it North Las, is it North, city of North Las Vegas?
No, it's still considered North Las Vegas. I wait, yeah, it is City of North Las Vegas. And I'm really not sure. I have to because I'm trying to think where I got my business license was actually just regular Las Vegas. So it might be
Okay.
City of North Las Vegas. Yeah,
Okay.
and it's west of Centennial Hills. I don't know if you know where Centennial Hills is.
No, no, but okay. I think I know where you're at.
If you're going
Um,
towards basically Mount Charleston,
okay.
that's where we're at. Because my wife works out at Area 51, so that's kind of like the last stop of residential area. And then because they still have to drive all the way out to the site, or take the bus all the way out to the site. So it was just
Wait,
kind
your
of,
wife works in Area 51?
yes, sir, she does.
That
She
that's
works in nuclear weapons.
wow. That's
Yeah.
that's interesting.
It's very interesting. I just play with people's faces and she's doing all that smart stuff. So
Well,
yeah,
just like you always hear about Area 51, but you never hear about anyone actually working in Area 51.
because they're not really. I can say that she works out there, but that's pretty much all that we can say.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
She
not
can't tell
gonna.
me anything. Like
Yeah, for
it's
sure. I'm not.
so annoying. I'm like, man, the shit that I bet that you see. Like I
Right.
just want to know, because I believe in it all. I believe in aliens. I believe in the science. Like I know that there's so much more going on than what we give our human race credit for, good and bad.
Yeah.
And I know that that has to be a huge melting pot for all the things out there. And she has access to a degree of it, so it's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm proud. I'm more proud of her than I am of myself.
Well, that's awesome, and you should be proud of yourself.
I am. I
Yeah.
am. I'm not gonna lie. I
Right
mean,
on.
try and stay humble, but I've faced death a few times, so
Yeah.
pretty proud
Yeah.
that I've been able to get through that. As
What's
have
that?
you. As have you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Absolutely. Fuck. We are some lucky motherfuckers right here.
Yes, we
So,
are. Yeah.
um, if you say your last fight, you knew it was your last fight, and you were walking to the octagon, and the little girl or boy or person, whatever, wanted a piece of advice that you were going to give to them on the way to your last fight, and they want it, and you wanted to impact that little girl or little person or the younger version of you, what do you think you would tell that person?
No one's going to save you.
Mm,
Only you. Just start.
just start. Oh, wow. That's
You. No one
wow.
is coming to save you.
Damn. That
I don't care
wow.
how young or old you are. I wish somebody would have told me that because I lived for a large part of my life always thinking somebody was going to save me. There would always be somebody to get me out of what I was in, and it
Yeah.
was always someone else's fault.
Absolutely.
And I did
Short, but
not think that I was going to say that either. So I'm sure it sounds a little harsh, but
well,
I wish
I
somebody would have
like
told
it.
me
It was
that.
like it hit me in my chest. I'm like, whoa, like fuck, like you're right. Like,
Especially in that context too. If you're going into the octagon, yeah, you have a referee, but think about it. Like you are fighting your own fight.
yeah, absolutely. And we're all just fighting our own fight. Uh,
100%.
like, yeah, you can ask for help, but if you're not willing to put in the work, then why the fuck is anyone gonna help you?
Exactly. The irony in that, but it's so true.
Yeah,
God helps those that help themselves, right?
yeah,
Same thing
absolutely.
with coaches too. Shit.
Right. So
Coaches, family.
yeah, I like how you just mentioned the God thing. So I interviewed this gal yesterday. And she is gonna be on the Titan show. Whatever I forget. Yeah, the Titan, the one the Rock hosts.
Rock, yeah.
Yeah. So she was like a contestant on that, and we are talking about like boundaries and um like what's important to her and her values and stuff. And like if somebody invites her to go do something, she said, I'm like, I just don't have time right now. I appreciate you reaching out. I just don't have time right now. So how relevant to me that was yesterday. My friends were texting me and they're like, hey, we're down at this bar. You should come down. And I'm like, hey, like bars aren't really my scene. I appreciate you reaching out. And then I got dressed. I'm like, you know what? I gotta go in town and like get food anyways. I need to go grocery shopping. So I'm like, maybe I'll stop by because my head's telling me like, maybe this is a good idea. And as I entered town, like downtown Missoula, they text me saying, hey, never mind, we're leaving. And I'm just like, oh my God, like fucking thank you, God. God is doing for me for what I cannot do for myself. Cause like I was probably gonna go in that bar and I was already feeling shaky. Like I didn't eat pretty much all day. Um, Again, which was a terrible mistake. And I don't think I did my morning routine yesterday. So like I just was feeling shaky and like, man, this is a bad idea, but I thought I was gonna do it anyways. So I love that my higher power looks out for me and looks out for you as well. So excuse me. You said that you read books. Like what types of books do you read?
Honestly, mostly self-help. I'm just kind of in the same vein as all the podcasts that I listen to. Really
Yeah.
into Wayne Dwyer, and then what am I reading right now? Is one of Rachel Hollis's books.
Which one?
Which is a Girl Stop Apologizing.
Girl, stop apologizing. I want to check that one out. I've heard good things.
She's masterful, and I think it works. You don't have to be a girl to get something out of that book. That's for sure.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
pretty epic. I love her.
Right on.
But I need some new books. I had a ton checked out from the library. Gary V. I'm so obsessed with him, but I had to kind of get away from that a little bit just because it was pounding a little too much. No, I don't know. It was more. I was in the whole business aspect for a while, and even though it's like the sober mompreneur and I'm an entrepreneur, I mean, being a fighter, you are an entrepreneur. I've never really had a job
Mm,
ever. I mean, I've worked like waitressing, but
yeah.
even then, you kind of can pick your own schedule and whatnot, and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But it just kind of was. I needed to shift more back into just enlightenment more so. So, but I'm like, I have to move around a lot. So I like my books to be more an audio version.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of on the hunt for, I don't know. If you have any good ones, let me know. I'm just so
Oh,
obsessed
when
with
we're done here,
podcasts.
I will send you some links that I'm listening to right now.
Some audiobooks.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. So Don Miguel Ruiz or Don Jose Ruiz, their books, I am I read them and I'm listening to them again.
That's the Four Agreements, right?
Yeah, the Four Agreements.
My 15-year-old son is reading that right now.
Right on.
Yeah, the Fifth Agreement. He's actually reading that one right now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He's
And he's
he's
15?
he's one of us actually. Yeah, he's
Oh,
got
wow.
9 months from smoking weed.
Right on.
Yeah,
Congrats. That's fucking awesome.
yeah, isn't it? It was a lot of people don't think you can get addicted to smoking weed, but I watched that kid go through withdrawals, and it was brutal.
Yeah, I've seen some people. I've seen it too. It was not a pretty picture.
No, not at all.
So
I mean, it's not heroin and it's not painkillers, but had a lot. It's in the same vein.
yeah,
Seeing him go through that was, and especially, being at such a young age, and it messes with your mind. So maybe
yeah,
the withdrawals were a little bit more exacerbated by just his physical age, but, not having the, capabilities to deal with it when you're a little bit older. But it still had physical symptoms of withdrawal. So yeah, but he's a reader too. So that kid reads more books on existentialism and yeah, enlightenment than me. So
wow,
yeah. So yeah,
right
he's a
on,
pretty impressive human.
right on. The book, I usually listen to audiobooks, because that's just how it is. But I decided to order this book.
Oh hell yeah.
I So I'm like, I'm gonna read it. I want to read a book instead of just listening to it. So that's the Lewis Howes, the School Greatness book, is the one that I'm. That's my my next adventure. I cannot talk. The last 3 interviews that I've done, I just keep like biting my tongue. It's um. So if you were, going to just maybe leave the world with something, maybe a piece of advice, maybe a story, a message, and you just leave everything behind and you just want to impact the most amount of people in the most powerful way, what would you say?
Aside from that, no one is going to save you.
Yeah, in other words, what's your message to the world?
I truly feel that if you are called to do something and you can't stop thinking about it, that it's meant for you.
That's, that's awesome. I love it. I love it. So where can if people want to find, you already said where they can find your podcast, but what if they want to find you on the internet? Where can people find you?
Well, Michelle Ould, OULD. My personal, Instagram and Facebook and all that, it's under like Michelle O Skin Fitness, or Michelle Ould. Pretty easy to find. I don't think there's another Michelle Ould out there. So, and anybody that has that last name, they have already been sure to friend request me on Facebook because they think we're related, but I don't think we are. There's only a few of us.
Okay. And
Yeah.
then your sober mom, put your Instagram.
Sober mompreneur. Yes, sir.
Okay. Right
And of
on.
course, my Halo House of Beauty is that's like what's on the end of all of my stuff. It's Halo House, spelled HAUS. And then you'll see a lot lately too. I've been doing body contouring stuff,
Oh,
getting
really?
girls' bodies right. So there's going to be a lot more pictures of booties on all of my Instagram pages. So be sure to go and check those out because you'll get more than you bargained for sure.
Well, I will. I will stay
Clickbait.
tuned for sure.
I might put
Awesome.
my own up there. You never know. You never know. I'm all over the internet for that already. So when you're a fighter, there's all sorts of pictures that run around.
Yeah, I can imagine. Could imagine. Well, again, thank you, Michelle, for your time. I appreciate it.
You're so welcome. It was such a pleasure talking to you. Not to mention, you have a very soothing voice. This is perfect for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I really really appreciate that. Man, I hope that you guys enjoyed that episode. That was amazing. So be sure to go follow Michelle on all of her Facebook, social media, Instagram, podcast platforms, and go follow me at None of Your Business Podcast on Instagram and at Robert Allude on Facebook, guys. Please go rate and review and share this with someone who needs to hear this message. You can literally be the vehicle to someone's sobriety right now just by sharing this message with someone who might be struggling. So I love you guys. Till next time.